Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. So that's generally the picture. You've got the entrenched committee chairs, the people who have been there. I think ICE has been there, 6, 7 terms. They much more blackmailable and less radical. Whereas you now have these Tea Party people coming in. Let's think about the Tea Party with the case study. We have Mike Lee, the new senator from Utah. Remember, the reactionaries out there in Utah decided that Bennett was not reactionary enough. That's Bennett, the Watergate figure, going way back to the early 70s. So now we have the one that they thought was reactionary enough, and that's Mike Lee. And sure fire, he's a reactionary. Mike Lee is now revealed as being an enemy of the child labor laws. Mike Lee, Senator Mike Lee, says, a Republican of Utah, says that the child labor laws are unconstitutional. Only states can regulate child labor within their borders. It sounds harsh. It's too bad. It may be tragic. And, of course, his heart bleeds for the poor little kids that will be forced to work. But, unfortunately, the child labor laws at the federal level must go. Now, you wonder what's next. Is the prohibition against cannibalism also not possible because it's not mentioned in the Constitution? There's nothing in the Constitution about cannibalism, therefore maybe it's not banned. You look at this and you say, well, is there any good that these people can do? Well, nothing in terms of their positive proposals. But when they fight Obama, then it becomes interesting. If they can checkmate one form of evil, even a more extreme form of evil in some ways, can checkmate another form of evil, this reduces the net evil that we have to deal with, and that's unfortunately the only way the world has survived as long as it has. Now, next Tuesday evening, we have the Obama State of the Union, and the answer is going to be given. The Republican reply will be given by Congressman Ryan, who is the reactionary, the budget czar for the Republicans. Now, Ryan is already somebody who believes that Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid have to be abolished in their current forms. But for some of them, for about two-thirds of the Republicans, he may not be reactionary enough. Let's just take a look at this. We have the Republican Study Committee, and the Republican Study Committee seems to favor Congressman Camp, C-A-M-P. You can go back to the essay by Susan Sontag and get some idea of this guy's cultural roots. But the essay by Susan Sontag on Camp, the Republican Study Committee represents the reactionary wing of the House Republican caucus. It's about two-thirds of them. Two-thirds of them count themselves as reactionaries, or as they say, conservatives. They're not conservatives. They're right-wing extremists. And they have now come out with their proposals for what to do about spending, and you're going to have to shudder. It's horrendous. They say you've got to cut $100 billion out of the budget immediately because that's what the reactionaries promised in the elections. So this is already a conflict with Ryan. Ryan, the Republican from Wisconsin, Paul Ryan, who will give the answer, right? House Budget Committee Chairman Paul Ryan says, well, $60 billion is enough for this year. So the House Budget Committee and the House Appropriations Committee are both looking at cutting $60 billion, but not so fast, says the reactionary wing, the House Republican Study Committee, the ultra-reactionaries, two-thirds of the whole group. They now say that's not enough. It's got to be $100 billion. And they say we've got to therefore cut an immediate one-third from most federal agencies. So one-third has to be cut from domestic discretionary spending, minus 30%, say the reactionaries. And that would mean the following, this is now according to Democrats who are scoring the Republican proposal. If you cut 1/3 or nearly 1/3 from the federal agencies, you will have to fire 4,000 FBI agents will be fired. 1,500 agents of the Drug Enforcement Administration will be fired. The federal prison system would have to fire 5,700 corrections officers. The Department of Agriculture would fire 3,000 food safety inspectors. The Head Start program, and this is a really serious one, the Head Start program would dump 389,000 children from their programs. Now, the Head Start program is you can have essentially a kind of pre-kindergarten for your kid. They get some education, some socialization. Above all, they get breakfast so that they're less likely to succumb to cognitive dysfunctions caused by malnutrition in our great, exceptional United States. The other things, this goes on now, the reactionaries want to eliminate the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, all right? They want to eliminate the National Endowment for the Arts, all right, fine. The Amtrak to be eliminated. No, 1,000 times no. We want Amtrak beefed up. We want fast rail. We want maglev. We want Shinkansen bullet trains. We want to match the Chinese. We want to beat the Chinese in fast trains. We want to do the British, the German ICE and the French TGV, and we want to do that better. That's absolute national suicide. We're told by Republicans this week, fast rail is a boondoggle. Yeah, fast rail is a boondoggle. The Chinese are laughing at you. Learn Chinese, Republicans, if that's your line. And they want to abolish the U.S. Agency for International Development. Now, I would be the first to condemn what the U.S. Agency for International Development has done since the era of Andrew Natsios, almost 2 decades ago. But there should be U.S. emergency food relief in the world. There should be food for peace, and that goes through the Agency for International Development. That becomes a way also to support your own farm sector. So they want to cut payments to the District of Columbia, cut $210 million to the District of Columbia. This means the District of Columbia would not be compensated by the fact that the district has got to provide police for all major political events. And also, there's a tax question, right? The federal property in the district is not taxed. That puts the District of Columbia in a terrible situation in terms of its tax base. There's a subsidy to make up for that. And the unkindest cut of all, they want to eliminate, the reactionary Republicans want to cut $150 million out of the repair budget for the Washington, D.C. metro system. The D.C. subway is going to take it on the chin with these reactionaries. Maybe they'll be caught when the trains stop between the stations in the tunnel, and see how those reactionary Republicans like it. We'll be back in a minute.